Welcome to this week's Meet the Darlings. We seem like a small and cozy crowd, but watch us fill out as the time pulls on. Miss Nova James Scott, we asked our director, should we just go ahead and record and begin? She's like, no, you don't have any of the interviewees. So I'm going to throw this opening. I'm going to do it just like that. I'm going to throw this opening completely over to you and just say, and say that you as the boss lady in the house can say a number of things. You could say what to look forward to with our fundraising campaign. You could say, what is the update on grants and money coming that way for the short film? You could say so much, my girl. Let her rip. Let her rip. Brag. No, I'm ready to say good brag. So go ahead and do that brag for us one time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
Okay. There's only you. I can't come back to you if there's only you, Nova.
I came to be a guest.
Well, here you go. You got put on the spot. Because if I do it, I will miss a lot of information. So you really don't want me to act like I could try to do it. But I'm gonna shuffle these cards while you get it together.
What
you want me to go slow? Okay, let's go slow, Nova. What's happening with the short film? What are you even creating in your embodied genius?
She's crying.
I know she is, because she know I know where to hit that button. You saved the day. Welcome, beloved. How are you? There's my Jessica. Can you hear me or are you muted? Oh, because we said hello. No,
Jessica.
We're like, hey, Jessica. It's okay. Bless her heart.
What cards are you shuffling?
Nova, are you going to do it? If I have to do it, I'll have to pull it out of you. I can't even say the title right now. You redid something with your name. It's the newness of your name. See, you don't want me to do it. You want to do it because you know it.
Grandma, no.
Hello. There she is. You saved her, and she will call you tomorrow morning and tell you how well you saved her, Flor.
Me?
Yes, because you weren't here. And I said, tell us about your short film. Give us an update. Tell us what's up with our fundraising campaign. And she just let that crown drop off her head, boo. It's on the floor somewhere. And you came along like the bell and saved the day, because I don't mind starting the interview with you. And then we'll see whether or not she's got it together by the time you finish. How you doing? How Jersey girl? Are you froze? You ain't in Jersey. You in the Bronx, right?
I'm in the Bronx.
Yeah. Is it froze? No.
It's cold.
It's probably wet and cold.
But it's gonna snow tomorrow and Friday and Monday.
Because it hasn't gotten too bad in New England from what I've seen. It's really the Midwest, from Texas up through the Midwest. It hadn't even got your way yet.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of snow about 2 weeks ago, but it's gonna come again. It's gonna come down once again.
This is what I want us to do, because I know y'all can see me. Everybody rub their palms and chakras together. Come on, we got about 5 or 6 of us. Do it, and then you're going to aim it right at the screen. We do this on Good of the Whole. And you just tell me what you feel in your belly, or you don't have to tell me. Just for a minute. Whoa, that was good. I love all y'all. It's like a big hug to you. So welcome. This is Miss Flor. And that's what we are. That's what I call her. Miss Flor, Next Round Productions, executive director. And, I can't even give your bio. I can't. I know that you're a sister from another mother, because if I even try to think of your lineages, other than you're born on my grandmother's birthday, that's a set in place stone kind of thing. So I know your vibration as a Gemini. But I knew you knew what you were doing from day one. I just knew the way you moved into position. You didn't bother us like cast members and try and block us. And so when you stand here, you just moved with the camera and the sound, and the magical happened. And you just proved that again, with the video that Nova will fill us in on later as to where we're going to get to see it when that's going to open up in premiere. And I do call your attention to it. Not that I don't want y'all to give money or look at the rewards, but I'm finna tell you, this girl, like you go to somebody's house and they cook like too good that you get full and be on the couch. This girl put her foot in this video for it to come out, and it is going to come out. I believe the spirits will move it between Black History Month and Women's History Month, because she really, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is I don't know your experience, I don't know your childhood, but I'm going to reach and say that's what impresses me so much about your work, Flor, because I don't perceive you as having enough of a colorful past, as they say, or even, and we're going to talk about that next week, who the archetypes are. Like, I wonder if Mom's Mabley was a wild darling. There are real women like a Toni Morrison, like, you know, Amaya Angelou. I know the ones I know, but there are so many I don't know, because their stories were silenced. I know this is a long question, but here it comes. I want you to speak to, in any way you like, how you are holding the vision of a story that's that broad. That's like, I could go on for the next half hour and try to cover like how broad, from pirates to men in many masks and many ages that abuse women and children. And I just wonder where you hold that story in the eye of the camera, if you would speak to that for us.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, first of all. And I can't wait till everyone sees the video, the Kickstarter video that I edited in preparation for the Kickstarter. So yeah, I feel like, where do I begin? I definitely, and I tell the story and I'm going to tell it again, Nova, you've heard it a million times. I manifested this project, or my role in this project. Absolutely. You know, I think that me and Nova have been friends for we've been friends for many years now, but we had been in touch like at random throughout the years. And then we would like have lunch here and there. But I kept feeling like, you know, I'm a producer, so I produce branded content, I edit branded content. But I was feeling so much of like, I want to work on something that works on all the things that I love. And to me, that's spirituality, social justice, and women's issues and women of color. And so, and I want to work with people that are like in this, that are doing that. And then like literally a week later, Nova calls me and she's like, I'm working on this shoot for Wild Darlings. I really want to DP and I'd like it, and I would love to consider you. So we chatted about it, and then that's when I started working on the project. But yeah, so I started shooting. I filmed at Blossom Dell in 2019, and you know, when I think about through where this comes from, I definitely know it's led by my ancestors. That's 100% like clear to me. I am Dominican and Ecuadorian. I'm a first generation American. And if you look at my history of where I come from, there is a lot you could see, right? Like I can see where my African ancestors come from. I can see where my Native ancestors coming from, and they're very in a very recent in my very recent past. So they feel very present to me. And like I said, in manifesting my role in this project, I was doing a lot of work spiritually leading up to it, where I was very much like calling onto my ancestors and knowing that me as a filmmaker and my ability as a filmmaker, how do I use that as a tool to see the change that I want to see, to tell the stories that I want to see on screen. And Wild Darlings is certainly that. And really, like, even when we've been working on this project for a year and a half together, and when I was editing the video, it was like it just was like happening. There was like a script that we had that had like a plan, But in terms of like the visuals, I was just like, I felt very channeled in that process. So it would be foolish of me not to acknowledge that that comes from a very spiritual place. And I think that, you know, our connection in the film, it feels very real, the container. So like, yeah, I acknowledge my role in that container, but it feels very spiritually held by my tribe.
I know that place. I want to explain it to people because people hear you and I say that, Flor, and they just map us out. It's cray.
Yeah.
Here's how it feels. It's like I could open my journal thinking I just went to get my journal because I was going to sit there and doodle or something, and the pen will take off writing. There is not enough time for my brain to process what those sentences or those words would be because the pen is already moving and the sentences are on the page. And that's what it feels like. So people call that a lot of things. They call that, you know, channeling, a downloading, possession. There are a few phrases that we might call it, but I'm so glad that you're speaking to it from the view of the camera, because to a vast degree, each cast member has come, you know, and will be coming next week when we're all together and trying to explain without a script how we created that magic. And really, you know, we were there, but definitely to have the eye of the camera is to say, and it just happened. I mean, I was on the other side of the camera. So I'm going to say for me, as one that was on the other side, it just happened. It did happen. You filmed it, and then I watched it. And so, and you know, and it got knitted together as if it were made to go together. Yeah. And all of us seem mystified as to how that is. And it continues to happen. Yeah. Because this that you just created is what? The third, fourth, fifth generation from the original piece, probably not even counting what we sent to Sundance last year. Yeah. It's just morphed, and it continues to morph like these bigger, greater stories that we, you know, it's like, did you read anything by Toni Morrison? I don't know why I'm going here, but did you? Did you see the movie Beloved? People like my daughter say, Mom, but you had to read the book first, and I didn't. So that's why, I'm
a movie person too. I like the movie version.
Yeah, and the thought of that, because I've seen it at movies like that, I test myself as to whether I'm gonna repeat those, because I repeat a lot of movies, but some movies I don't repeat. And I thought today, in bringing these types of visuals, because I think I'm going to get a list going in our Wild Darling Facebook group as you're coming in, pull those tarots, and I'm going to have you talk about that in just a minute, because that's exciting. But I want us to talk about what we really know about the Wild Darling experience. There are thousands of them, like the thousands faces of the goddess. So at the time that this mother cut the throat of this child so that they would not grow up in slavery, she did not know that child would walk up out of a river and turn into the Wild Darling that wound up sleeping, fornicating with her own husband, with her own father. And thus she became, for 1,000 reasons, not just that reason, but for 1,000 reasons, the beloved became a Wild Darling. And so whether it's Josephine Baker or like that, the beloved, or, you know, all of us, or few of us, we all love Frida. Look at Frida's life. Frida's life was just tormented, even though she had great and passionate loves in that life, you know, and we are the recipient of the art of her pain. And so, you know, how, for me, and I'm going to have you speak to this and then swing it into the tarots you're going to do and where people can look for them, is that transmutation factor. We say we're on this path of the healer within. And I think, as looking like you do through the camera like this, or the movie, or however we put it together, we're watching how women transmute their pain back into some life or some form of healing, right? That's what I think. You speak to it.
It's really, really powerful. and you know, even like you said, I think that, you know, we come from a time where, if there's a movie version of it, I'm probably gonna watch it, and I probably won't read the book. Sorry to the literary community. And, you know, and there's something really powerful about seeing something on screen. And I really too feel, especially because, like you said, when I was editing the video, I was editing it, and then I've seen the footage so much. And then there's like this moment where I like see it, right? And I'm like, wow,
Right.
that's so powerful.
Right.
And I remember that moment, but I am still experiencing it and you know, I was lucky that I was behind the lens and that I captured that, but I like completely forget. Like I completely forget sometimes that I was there with my little camera in the heat of August. But you know, I did have that intention. I had that very specific intention when I was going into shooting, where I was like, you know, I want to like sink into the background. I don't want to like tell anyone, can you do this again? Take two. Like, no, I need to just like sink into the background. And I want to just capture as honestly as I can what's happening here. And, you know, thankfully
you know, for people like me, not the Darlings so much because they didn't know what to expect. But you know, those 25, 30 years in news reporting, you know, I was extremely structured. I had not one but two camera people that would tell me which way to look and begin at all times. So it really, I just want to say that because that's something I would ask some of the Darlings to speak to. How did that feel for them? Did that feel like a wide open safe space automatically? Just be yourself? Or because you're there with no instruction, you're there to give your own instruction, to become your narrative. No one is going to tell you what your story is or your process or your narrative. For all those reasons, it was and is an amazing experience for me as the person on this side of the camera for that reason, because I think that challenges us theatrically in a way that is new for me. Maybe people are used to showing up and just pulling it off like that.
Yeah, and I feel like I think it was the night that we all got there. We were introducing ourselves and talking about, you know, what we were looking forward to. And I very much prefaced because I know I personally don't like to be on camera and filmed. And, you know, I understand how uncomfortable it could be to not try to be self-conscious when you're on camera. And so I already know that that's difficult, and let alone to be on camera, going through spiritual processes, going through, you know,
memories, nightmares, whatever
memories, like your worst fears, like what is haunting you since you were a kid. And so it felt really powerful. Besides the fact that I was allowed to be in that space and like capture that space, that the Darlings really stood up in that light, because there was such a invitation to not just heal, but to know that in the witnessing of it is where that medicine that we talk about lives. And I was just really like, I'm like shaking just thinking about it, because I'm like transporting back to that time of like being there and capturing it as it was happening, thinking like, yeah, if everyone could see this level of truth, that is here, it's just truly transformative. And it was transformative.
Here's the question I'm gonna ask you, and you wanted a few people could answer it. Do you think, okay, let's say we're sitting, you know, we did our red carpet, we all dressed up. We're sitting in the audience, so one of those test drives, you said, sit in the audience to see how they react to your movie. Do you think that people in general, watching it would know that it evolved? They would, like you, but you were there. See, that's the past. They're not. They weren't there. That's not their experience. Their first experience is on the screen. Would they think that was a written script and we were blocked and people told us what to do or what those scenes were? Scene 1, scene 2, and we had we didn't do that. We did it with our hands, but you know what I mean, where people just block you around in a movie, where movies are made. It didn't happen like that. And what you said made me think of that. I thought, oh, like, you know, the sci-fi movies give you kind of a warning up front of what dimension or what age you're in. And I think that it would be to our benefit. I would feel good about it if people understood that we would, you know, it evolved. What you are watching is an evolution of a process that nobody wrote before going in. We didn't try and write it coming out. It didn't have a chapter 1 to our plantation thing, what we're going to now. And if there is a uniqueness, if they do this in movies all the time, tell me. because I'm a theater major. As far as I know, they don't do it. They give the front man lines, and then they have a couple of stunt men, or they give the front woman lines, and then they have a couple of stunt girls, and it's all very planned out, particularly if they're behind any of those blue screens or any of that. And so from that respect, we have twice now moved into Sundance. Nova hasn't been ready to talk about a short film, but we're going to get there. And speak to that for a minute, because I think like this other one that I'm thinking about, I can't think about it, All Blue. It was a documentary like ours, and it was set in that gender questioning community. Marshall, whatever, he won an award for it. the Boys in the Water. Anyway, Moonlight. Thank you very much. And like that, you know, when I think about things like that, we are not diehard. We are not. We are not from the Marvel studio. We are something that evolves and loves and moves organically. I would say that the Darlings, but I think that's obvious that we love moving in each other's company. That's obvious. But something also happens organically that, as you have said, you see and witness. And more than that, you are humbled to be the witness that creates it and say, okay, I witnessed it. Now I'm going to share it with all these audiences. You witness it. Yeah. That's an amazing feel. I know Next Round Productions is like got their foot in it, and this is good for you. So where do you want to go from here before I make you tell us about the tarot cards and the tarot readings and stuff?
Well, I do think that's a great thing to point out, because Nova, we talked about this early on, like in the beginning, where there is no script, right? And this story was always going to evolve. It was meant to evolve in the way that it was supposed to. And I do think that's a challenge of like documentary. It's a challenge within documentary filmmaking, but I think specifically this project, it was a challenge, but that's what was like exciting about it, where it was like, well, there's no way we can know what's going to happen before this moment. Like, we can set it up that we're like, okay, we knew the schedule of like, okay, today we're going to do this, and we're going to do the sound bath, and we're going to do that. But like, you don't know what's going to come out of that experience or that process for any one individual person. And that was like the real beauty in it. And I think that's a beauty of what we're looking forward to for the feature, is that like beyond what we did in 2019 and what's been going on in 2020 through the Zoom calls, the process has been continuing, right? And like, we know that we have a mission. When we have a mission to get to this plantation, well, we don't know what's gonna come up. And that's like the magic of it for me, of like, we're about to, because we're experiencing in real time what healing looks like, and like what the person is finding within themselves in that process. And so it's exciting. It's really exciting.
It is. I was thinking about how even in ceremony, because, you know, there's a lot of things that we teach, and people say, oh, okay, I love when y'all do ceremony, when I do ceremony. I say, okay, let's keep it simple. Beginning, middle, end. Okay, so we thought about this. Beginning, blossom down. Middle, pandemic, race wars. Two darlings lost their fathers, for God's sake. All types of things happened to us. Look at our middle. Look at our entrance, which was amazing. All the things you just said blossomed out. And then this is the middle. And the plantation is going to be the riotous end, or whatever. However it goes. It'll close it out. We are the summation of all that we have experienced. And we have all collectively and individually experienced a lot. And as the world has in 2020. Yeah, 2020 was pretty amazing. It was just right out there, but on its own. It definitely was. As history goes, you know, it wasn't a dull year. And so I now want you to tell us about your tarot. Of course, every darling that's been here, even Nova, we all have these wonderful rewards. I've been trying to nudge my friends, give money, because we have great rewards in here. Yeah, I don't even think this is a reward. I think this is just a thing you're going to do, like some people are doing TikTok or Instagram. Or
we have a TikTok and an Instagram account. I'm going to be doing, once the the launch happens, I'll be doing some little tarot readings. And I just want to I wanted to offer something for just like engagement for the community, you know, as you're following along. I love tarot. I just started working with them I started working with them about 5 years ago, but I got more serious into it about 2 years ago. And I find them to be very just a great look at what is the vibrational energy around what's happening with all of us. And you know, I think throughout I'm gonna be channeling different things throughout the campaign, but I wanted to invite everyone on that journey. I think there's a lot to take away from tarot. And you know, I follow people on Instagram that they'll do like a card reading or whatever. And you know, sometimes you're meant to find it on that day, you know, you're meant to get that reading. You won't probably see them every day, but you'll see it when you're supposed to. So I'm looking forward to that and to sharing that part of me. You know, I think I've been very on a production and post-production. I've been involved in that aspect of the project, but now I'm excited to bring my own little spiritual magic to the collective.
And satisfy your ancestors. And we'll leave that right there. We don't tell people's business. We're not Wendy. We don't tell people's business on our private calls, but we say, well, she has good reason to bring back these magical gifts. Sign me up. That's the other thing I want to say, because I love to get it. And what it is, so that you say, oh yeah, you got 27 tarot decks. Really? You're going to come on Instagram and do the tarot with me? Yes, I am. Because what happens for each of us is that, Flor, you are born on the same day as my mother's mother. And so I find that when people come to me and I offer them tarot readings, they already know the cards and the major arcana and all like that. What happens is that the tarot reader becomes, everybody seen Red Violin? The tarot reader becomes the vessel through which the lessons are told to you again. Like the Bible would tell you, beware you entertain angels unaware. Okay. It was told to you again because your ego self would not look at it directly if yourself told it to yourself. So we have in these readings the outlying of truth, and then how we walk it. Now there's free will in this world. You understand that? So to a degree, like me booking with you is, number one, I know you're going to confirm things I've already looked at. In coming to my birthday and coming to the end of my 62nd year, and it's going to all chime in, and that is why I'm coming to Flor. And not as if I don't know the cards that Flor uses, but Flor is carrying a gift that will then come through that portal, and her wisdom, her wise one, her ancestors, who's ever speaking, has some things to tell me. And guess what? I want to hear them. That's the wisdom. Yeah, that's the wisdom I go around teaching, and people act like they're baffled about it. It's not any rocket science. That's the gifts of God that we have within ourselves, all of ourselves, if we dare to look at them. Most people don't. Most people are afraid of their source. Somebody said that recently. They grabbed hold of their source. Determination, you know, it's called a lot of things, and move themselves forward because they see this is the time. Oh, right. We're all out of work. We're wearing masks. We're trying to figure out what do we do to keep a livelihood going, to stay healthy, number one, and keep a livelihood going, number two. We better call on some wisdom because, you know, the machines, as we know in Texas, could go down any day. There's no power. There's no heat. There's no phones. Phones will only stay charged as long as you can recharge them.
It's so funny too, because I do feel like we all have access to, your intuition is constantly telling you information. It's giving you information from your ancestors, from spirit guides, from archangels, from whatever you believe in. And I feel like I'm the kind of person that I'm like, okay, I need to have real clarity. Just give it to me straight.
A Gemini don't want half a story. They want real clarity. That's for real.
So it is fun. I hope people do enjoy the readings, because I do feel like there is something to, you already know, and
confirmation.
That confirmation, and through such a, what I find to be a wonderful medium of the stories that tarot holds. I just think it's inviting you to just channel your intuition, because that's all that's going to happen. You're going to have your own interpretation as well once you start learning more about the cards and all that. So I'm excited.
More Than Me want one. Tell us again, where do we go to get it? And we're waiting for the thing to launch, or you got a certain day to start?
Launch, but we'll definitely be on, I'll be on the Wild Darlings Instagram account.
The Wild Darlings Instagram. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. And I'm going to try and put our reminder post. And of course, we'll know when the launch is live, active. And you're going to see this wild stuff. You won't believe it. It'll be wild everywhere because we have a lot of social media. And between us, there's like 4 or 5, 6 people on this team. We all have a lot of social. I got into Clubhouse. There's another one. Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, wow, look at the 20 people already here that I know. I was excited. I could have automatic followers. So it was great. So what else do you want to tell us? Are there perks and rewards that I've looked over from Next Round Productions that you haven't talked about yet, Flor? I know the tarot is exciting.
Yeah,
you do so much to squash our numbers and keep our look good and come up with these hot videos that you do. I love every part of who you are, babe. But I'm not trying to add anything to your list. What I'm saying.
No, I don't have any rewards. I could probably add some tarot readings to the rewards. I could, but I'll be doing them for free. I'll be doing some free card pulls on the Wild Darlings Instagram, which is super easy to follow. It's just at Wild Darlings Sing the Blues.
Oh, I want to do it. I want to make it happen. I could use one. My birthday's coming up. I'm excited.
But yes.
And you know, me and Timmie, maybe both of us will come on. We'll see that. We'll give you twin mermaids to pull on tarot. That'll be very magical. Okay. Yeah. I told Timmie that too. I said on our birthday, we're going to call each other first thing our eyes open. And we'll sit with Flor for our reading.
Ooh.
I know. Ooh, that is like very, very good. That's something to look forward to. You have to look for the really charming things when you get older that happen for your birthday. Oh yeah, those crazy surprise parties and things.
Wait, when it's birthday?
They don't happen so much anymore. But I think I talked to someone. I did. My friend Christina Gordon, Women's Wilderness Workshops. Yes. This is a woman who said, you know what? Men's and women's bodies are not alike. And I will have my own outdoor earth skills for women so that I can show how it is better for us with hips and boobs and all kinds of things to do our friction bypass. She's badass. She is a badass toe hair blonde girl. Yes, she is. She lives in North Carolina up by the one that's older than Oyotunji, the Quaker community. She lives not in it, but by it. And she was, she's very into Wild Darlings. And let me tell you why I was telling you this, because of her leadership ability, and her ability to stick to truth telling. Was that it? Where were we? What did I just say to you? Because it's a trait that both of you probably have in common. And what I was saying, we were going to do the reading.
Because you're talking about me, you and Timmie showing up to my reading.
Right. Something that Christina posted there about the women and that she is like that, came up for that independence that when you just take a stand, and I see Timmie moving through it. We did, and Nova was right, because Nova asked, we did go to her. We did a brief thing on her shamanic journey, and we promoted her event a little bit, but Timmie is one to watch. They're all ones to watch. That's why we're doing this movie.
Timmie's drums. Oh my gosh. I did one animal spirit drum journey with her, and I was like blown away. Blown away. This woman is so powerful.
Yeah. And I think what we're being allowed to witness, at least for me, I don't know about you on your side of the camera, I'm about to talk to Danae about it right now, about to go down this lane right now. With Timmie, when she moved and I wasn't there a lot of nights, I went back up because I had already done sweat lodges and stuff, but I felt the energy. People talked to me the next morning about her drumming, and I knew her ancestors from the islands, from everything that is in her. I knew they were sitting present. It didn't matter that I wasn't there. I knew that like I knew my name. And like with Danae, you've seen it, I've seen it, many of my friends, because I posted and reposted. The amount, as they don't allow themselves to usually be seen like that. Ones that are huge like that, like behind Danae.
Yeah.
And then her father crossed over. All them grandfathers sat with her 2019 with the work we were doing. I look at things like that because, again, I say there are no accidents or coincidences. I think I put that in the WhatsApp. What's our theme for today? No accidents, no coincidences. We are so blessed to be in the divine, and what we are all doing together and said we would do together, what our ancestors said we would do together. It gives a smile to one's face.
It is really interesting. We're definitely on like the timeline though. We're on the timeline. I feel like when we were chatting about it last year, we were like, the film's already made, right? This is already this happened in like, and now we've like caught up to that timeline. And I feel that so like brilliantly right now. And even the fact
it's gonna clinch, boo, when the thing is all edited and we are finished, is when the real explosions. Well, either that or it's coming to help heal, because the Epstein story was swept under the rug, and all the exposures of who's in bed with whose money over the children at the border has not been fully exposed. See, full disclosure hasn't come, and you're right. This movie project is moving alongside of it, bit at a time, different things happening. I say get more popcorn. I'm not trying to say I like you. I'm not trying to say how it's going to come out. I say stay tuned, keep watching.
Aquarius, all will come to light. All will come to light.
All will come to light.
It's true in the sense of like timing and coincidence and whatever you want to call it. It's like, imagine this. I can't even imagine a world where Amanda, that's my business partner. She said, "Get more popcorn."
Get more popcorn.
She's the other half of next round. Thanks for coming, Amanda. No, but just this idea of like, it just happened perfectly. Even though the pandemic has sucked, it's been really shitty. I always think like this past year has just done so much for the movement, for all of it, just as individuals and as a collective, everything's come to light. And I think,
I find myself saying it in different posts, different things I'm putting out. I'm like, either it's time is enough or what? You people say time's up. And for this project, I'm asking you, is that real or not? Or you give a lip service what you want me to believe? Because we're all living, exposing to it, and for all the sake of all of our daughters and granddaughters, it's high time the stories were told, and something else we're done about it.
Yeah,
we're done about it, girl. This has been alive for a long time.
Yeah,
and I don't want to talk too quick about it, because it's people, grandfathers and uncles and all kind of things involved, that allowed their brothers and their brothers' brothers to rape their children. What kind of, a little too long. This is 2021. If we're going to break into Aquarian detachment from here, let's make a direct turn, is what I have to say. And each of us, I think, holding healing parts or healing medicines, as we've been saying, in this particular work, this particular movement, we have it to offer and no longer be silenced. Whatever it is going to come up for some people. I'm going to tell you now, in the very tarots you're doing.
Yeah. That is the beauty.
Strega, don't make me call it out. Don't make me call you out. I know of the Italian gifts. I had to give it to another friend. No, and I'm happy for you. And I'm happy for you and your sister that you are finding your way, or your ancestors are finding you, or however these gifts are being. Because who else would tell you, Flor? Let's get to the real about it. Which I know you wasn't waiting on anyone else out here to tell you about the magical things you need to know to go forward.
Yeah.
Your ancestors give it to you inside and say, Flor, it's already inside. Jonathan sings about this. All that we need is inside. He sings so many wonderful light messages. That's why I love him so much.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess I'm going to go on to Darling Dewberry and chit-chatty with her, unless there is anyone in Zoom that has any questions for Flor, because you might. She is quite the badass genius, I'm saying. Do you see anyone raising their hands, Flor? Because I'm on my little telephone. But yeah, you know, editing and visually, and more and more and more. Y'all got these video cameras in your phones more and more and more. You want to know what Flor is putting together in her visuals, because
I'll be here.
and look at them in detail. You know, I think about even the stills impress me, Flor. It's like, it's not even the moving shot so much. It's like how you end certain statements or the way your story is being told. You know, another editor, it would, you know, I'm watching your story. And it's very, very, you know what I mean? It's giving people enough time to read it, digest it. The thoughts are moving. It's awesome. So just let me say that. I'm not trying to blow your head up. I'm just trying to say I went to school for it. So I know what I'm looking at. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to stand long after the film is done. Beautiful.
I hope so. I hope so, right? You know?
Right.
Beyond me and my role in it, let the art speak for itself, and let it
absolutely
carry on, go where it must.
All right. Dewberry, the designer. Everybody wants to know a Dewberry girl. I am trying to tell you. She's a girl after my own heart. When I was younger, I thought I wanted to be the designer of Fashions de Fola. This is real. This is a real story. The only other person that knows this really good is the woman who wrote the check, who was my mother, who's in heaven, Barisharoon. But yeah, she invested in my company.
Yeah,
and
I'm looking at the messages. Dude's not here yet, but Danae is here.
But Danae is here, so we'll talk to Danae. But I'm going to set Dew up so when she comes in, everybody will be ready. Dew is blossoming, and you can't even say like you could call out a designer's name and say, "Oh, go see her designs here." We are catching her in the blooming. So let's hold on to that point right there. And when she shows up, we're going to sure talk about that some more. Now, this girl over here, I thought about this. No accidents, no coincidence. Kind of why I said it is because this was the other set of eyes up in Blossomdale. Like everything Flor was looking at, Danae was looking at. And Danae like to wear hoodies, you know what I'm saying? So Danae looked like she just finished some amazing wild graffiti in any subway the night before when you looked at her or talked to her. And suddenly we started seeing us a little Spike Lee. I know I did. I don't know what other people are doing. But again, I'm the theater major in the room with the film minor. I'm watching. And so I'm seeing her and I'm like, okay, I think girlfriend is lining this up, lining it up. She sees ahead. Her, you know, because you can kind of tell, like, is it like the Bionic Man or Terminator or something? You can see when people's eyes are rotating thoughts. They're not just watching anything or being entertained particularly. Like their eyes, almost like an artist with a paintbrush, something else is happening. This is how I come to know our darling Danae. So Danae, yes, I talked you up. That's my job, really, as the Grammy in this film. I get to talk about all of my wonderful darlings and their beauty and growth and art. I can't hear you, dear. Are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
Okay, there you are. I thought you were muted still.
No, I was, but then you called my name, so I had to respond.
Well, now, no, you can't be muted. So you've heard us talking. I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, Danae. We can talk about your art, and or we can talk about the grandfather's picture that's out there, or the spirits of the grandfathers, as you call them, and or we can talk about your process with Wild Darlings. You're in charge. You're the goddess, baby.
Okay. Well, I can speak on what I did with Wild Darlings.
Alrighty.
And I guess we can speak about my work a little bit. I guess because I don't know. I started working with you guys on the film a little bit differently, because in the beginning, I came into working with Wild Darlings in thoughts of like processing my own healing, like we were speaking of, and like working through all of the different things that I needed to check in on myself about, and just aid me in developing my voice. And I appreciate the time that I spent with the Wild Darlings in terms of like cultivating my voice, but like just having the space to be with people that made me feel seen and made me feel good and like a sister and loved, and felt like I can be like myself around, and be honest about what I feel like comfortable in that instance comfortable sharing on film what I didn't feel comfortable sharing on film. But also just teaching me different ways of dealing with my trauma and unpacking like different things growing up as a Black girl. You know, there's so many things. But that's what I did with the Wild Darlings. I appreciated my time. It was crazy. I was like, I'm also really interested in how I like to put myself in very weird positions and not like question it at all and just be ready to go run with it.
But you're also really strong at standing in it. You know what I'm saying, Danae? Out of everyone, yeah, some people put themselves in their position and they get cluttered and confused. Not Danae.
No.
Danae will stand in what her realness is in the moment, and that is huge. I just want to say that you did hit many, many, many edges. And on behalf of me, who, like, if I walk in a room and Jerry Springer or Maury or some crazy ass hang your laundry out to dry shit is on, I do not watch. I do not even sit down. I require that it is turned off. That is how much I could understand that part of you that was coming. So, well, you know, all right. It is my process. I don't know that I'm particularly selling it to anyone out here on the big screen, and not that anyone else was doing that, but I understand the ground that you were holding. Yes. It is your process. Yes. It is private. And as Flor just said, it is a major deal. Yeah. It is a major deal that all of the darlings are willing to share. They could have kept this under the quiet, not having to go up on the screen with it from now until. Right. It's been under the rugs of so many homes for how many centuries? Yes. You see? So I just want to say that out loud. I'm glad we're saying it on a place where it's recorded. Because maybe I didn't ever say it to you, you know, one-on-one. Anytime you back up to a resistance, and I think Nova would say the same thing, well, ask her. We both appreciate it. We both appreciate it. That one of the darlings, many did in different ways, but you held it very no. No, I said no, and maybe I'll think about it because I really like you gals. Y'all feel all what you just said. Y'all feel really good to me and really trustworthy. Maybe I will trust you, but I'm not saying yes right now. And I love that you held that space.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's also what, like, we were speaking about ancestors and stuff, and like knowing ourselves and like knowing who's with us. I mean, there's times where like I might want to do something, but spirit not gonna let me get up. Like I'm not gonna, like, I can't move. I can try, but it's not gonna allow me to go to that place or be on time. Like how we were discussing last week about timing and like about how I feel that I know timing. Like I'm really good at understanding where I'm supposed to be and when I'm supposed to be there. Like just because of how I feel, and I guess because of all of like who we saw sitting behind me. I mean, I don't know. It's been something that's always been with me since I was a small child. So I guess in order for me to be able to unpack those things and be honest and real with myself and like be not fearful of those, of the ancestors or of the gifts, and know how to actually work with them, I have to listen to my own intentions. And I guess that is something that crosses over in my practice a lot in terms of creating artwork or creating whatever it is that I'm working on. The intent is to be like loving, and
I want to do that with you. I want to be with you, Danae, the artist. Like, I don't know what that is, paintbrush, whatever it is, Subway, wherever it is. Like, you know, for some hours.
Yeah. I haven't.
All right, I'm making that date. I'm just saying, you know, there's not many people I allow into my painting space when I'm painting, and I don't want to be in the infringement of yours, but it just feels like there's so much a part of you I haven't even seen yet. Like I haven't even seen a piece of your art. I think maybe you tried to show me some of it on the phone. Well, I know it exists in there.
I can share some of my work with you guys directly in the chat, and I do have
that
some
would
work.
Be exciting. Please, would you do that? I will post it. because that is something, a part of you that I know is huge and big and beautiful. I'm glad I want, for you, please, to tell us which one of the parts of your creativity are coming to rewards for our Kickstarter campaign. As an update for everyone listening, no, it actually is Wednesday, February 17th, and our Kickstarter is not live yet. It's one of the, kind of interesting things about this Mercury retrograde, which does go back direct on Saturday. We believe that we're going to be coming to you live on Friday. All of the production team held that in the very magical realms between heaven and earth, and we think so, and that's where you could go in here in a minute and just see like a button and see Danae's beautiful artwork that's being offered. A number of amazing rewards are attached to all of your generous giving. There's shout outs on Instagram, for the smaller donors. We don't want anyone to feel left out. But for the larger donors, I'm fixing to tell you there's some really special things. I think Danae's is in that group, but so you're going to share in the chat. You already did. And we have the link.
In the chat, I shared the link to my website. And you can see some of my work, but I do have some images of smaller prints that I made. I'm going to have.
Yeah, show us one. Are you in the room with one? Because my eyes will remember. My third eye will remember. That would be awesome. Oh,
let me
because you have that background. Yeah, with you. No, it's part of the universe. Is that like Angela Davis, Danae? What is that?
It's not Angela Davis. It's actually I made these collages, but they are collages that I put together from Xerox images and plastic bags. And after I dismantled the collage, I got rid of them. So the only thing that I have is this print. But I'm trying to, let me see.
So we could use them like stationery or for postcards or something. I love collages, but particularly when they're historical. People think to throw old magazines away. I'm doing the same thing, making little historical books for my grandchildren and great grandchildren that, the new or old history books that Grammy left with information.
So
there it is.
This is one of them.
Oh, budding. Look at those flowers. Gorgeous, Danae. See, this is what I'm saying. I know this creative girl lives inside of you. So is it this type of thing that's being the reward? People can actually get these by giving a donation?
Yeah. These are collages. I've only these are prints of collages that I did, and there's only 8 of them, and of each style that I made, and they were just representations of of Black women that I was finding through a photographer. Let me see if I can find that I've been observing. He's from my neighborhood, but it's an older gentleman. I'm gonna see if I can find his website and share it with you guys as well. But I also was inputting my own images from my own work into the collage as well. This is actually also a painting that I've been working on. That's behind me.
Danae, man, I'm gonna have to get a piece of your art. You get a piece of mine.
This is my
fact.
So you
guys, the pandemic has really kept us off from a lot in a year. You would think I've already seen your art by now.
Yeah,
but that's exciting.
So
that's exciting.
Thank you.
Looks like my bedroom. Art everywhere, all over the walls,
all over the place. I haven't really been creating any new paintings. But I think that's because, like you said, I've been working a little bit differently. I created a fellowship through the place that I'm working for. It's called Culture Push. And the fellowship is called the Black Utopian Fellowship. It was created to create resources for my fellow with specific to Black institutions. So I have collaboration with the Schomburg. I have a collaboration with Mokata. There's another place in Brownsville. It's called University Center, which is a community center, and they have they're teaching farming, urban farming, and they have aquaponics tanks. So my first fellow, his name is Dennis Redmoon. He's from the Bronx.
Mhm.
I want to say he's an artist, but he's also like his practice is focused on community and aiding young Black and brown men
Mhm.
to deal with their trauma. So I'm trying to aid him in finding resources for everything that he's doing in regards to like his programming, help him get grants because he's a fiscal sponsor for Culture Push. And I've been learning a lot more about nonprofits. So I'm also deciding what's best for me moving forward as an artist, and in terms of like creating a new means of how our work is celebrated and exchanged, not necessarily like commodified, because someone can buy my work and it can exist in their storage, but it's not going to be shown and seen how I would like it to be seen. So that's what I've been actually focusing on seriously, other than trying to create other initiatives for like emerging artists, emerging Black artists,
Mhm.
brown artists. Yeah, that's
You know what I just saw for you, and I know that it will come true, and I'm so glad to speak it out loud also on another recorded version of Meet the Darlings. I saw that probably in some upcoming conversation between myself and the executive producer, Abdul, that you actually live in a house like belongs to Abdul. Have you been to his house yet?
I don't
It's a
believe.
very nice brownstone. It has 3 floors, at least, that I've seen. There may even be a basement, at least, if not 4. And other people live there and pay extraordinary to live there. But I saw clearly your art, like Abdul's. You and I will go to Abdul sometime together, because I saw that people could come to look exactly what you're saying, like me. You know, some pieces you could come into my art and I would just say, oh, no, that's not for sale. You know, because no, you're never gonna be able, actually, you know what I mean, to give me the money for that piece. That I probably is gonna get left to somewhere, grandchild, we don't know, but I know it's not supposed to be sold.
Right.
And it's not, I'm not supposed to be, giving it out that way. But I did see that. And all of what you said, Coach, you push all of it. Because I grew up in a place like that on Price Street in Savannah. I'm definite. I was coming into my culture. This mother that we are here to take our ashes back to Charleston in the middle of March was my African dance teacher. It was called the Academy of Black Culture, same thing, only it was a brownstone in Savannah, 3 floors. There was an artist, Bradley, you know what I mean? We had like your big art, huge art. He would, give us to see, because at that time, as a girl that age, nope, we didn't have any Black people in history books in school. We didn't have any Black people anywhere. So for somebody else to give us a paintbrush and some paints and say, paint yourself, paint what you see of who we are in the world. And so it was great. I see you in a place like that. I was trying to see if you were in upstate Hudson, and I said, no, she's supposed to be in the city where you can reach all these people with the nonprofit and they can come and go. So yeah, and you know what, Danae? I don't think that's that hard. It's not. Already right now, you know why? Because there's a whole network, kind of, sort of, that he belongs to, that knows when one of the floors of those nice establishments open up even. I don't think he did probably come into a full house like that. You come in 1 floor at a time, you get another couple of tenants, you know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, it is that building, and we'll all come see you. We'll all come be part of that art. And some of that art will never be sold. Some of those walls right there is the reason that your work is not commodified, so that we, your friends, can come and be in your work, in that work, whenever we want to. I hope there's a great, for both of us as artists, I hope there are many sketches of our time together on this journey in Wild Darlings that either you or I want to paint. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wild Darlings exhibition. Let's make it happen. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be so cool.
I wanna do some cards with you. I've been thinking about doing cards. A friend asked me like 2 years ago, and I was like, well, I don't even read cards, so I don't even know how I would do that. And then it came up again. So I was like, maybe I could try and speak to Mama Sangoma about it, and we could do a deck of cards together or something. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Flor is going to be exciting. Let me tell you, Flor, Gemini, I've been on the bark. My grandmother over me, Gemini, had the sight. Is how I'm gifted. And I can't wait to hear what she has to say. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be real significant. It probably, no doubt, will be some of the tools we need in the plantation in terms of exquisite listening for messages on the other end. You know, a lot of times people have watched the movie Ghost, but they think that's how it really happens. And sometimes it does. But there are also times when you need a tool like tarot so that you can really, really put some balance on all the messages coming in, or all the whispers, or all the things that you're trying to hear. You go, how? Okay, what is the message here? And a tarot card is that kind of thing. It has enough symbolism in it, like painting, like art, to give you some of the main themes, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's 2 prints for you. That's up as rewards that people can come in to donate. Yeah, for sure.
I have one other. I have one more. It's a green print that I did as a lino cut, and
Oh, that's nice.
it's like I did this technique. It's called flocking. I don't know if you've heard of it.
What is it? Because it doesn't quite look like ink.
No, it's not
flocking.
ink. It's flocking. So with flocking, it's kind of like, you know, the pigments that are inside of like a jewelry box that's like fake velvet.
Yeah.
So they're like these little tiny bits of pigment, and I basically coated the lino print that I did, the lino cut, and then with the glue, and then you do this flocking over the top of it, and then you dust it off. So it gives you like a coat. But my grandmother, my people are from Panama, so I made a mole, and this is what the moles look like. I don't know if you guys know it. It's like
Beautiful.
indigenous type of.
You gonna do more? So is it like really for real a Kwanzaa or a holiday card, or what?
Oh,
You
that
want to do a series stationary?
all of these are prints that I've done and that I've been holding on to because I gave most of them away. So these are the
Right.
last ones of them that I have actually.
Your work is so like diverse. Like you work in so many different mediums and
Pigments, textiles. I knew all this. I can tell by the way she talks that it's like in a lot of multi-medium kind of things.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I want to try and show y'all this big painting so you can see a little bit closer. It's on like a reflective mylar, and it's oil paint. Ugh. I don't know if you can tell though. But
What's it on? That's not canvas.
this stuff is like, you know,
Is
the blankets that they give you when it's like a fire.
Okay.
So
At
that's
first from here it looked like a shower curtain, but now I see it's the aluminum blankets they give you when you're on fire.
Yeah. So
And you figured out a texture of a paint that will stay on there like that?
yeah, when I was in grad school, I started painting on this reflective mylar because it was the only thing I had. And then everybody was like, "Oh, that's so cool. Can you keep doing it?" So I was making like 7-foot, 8-foot paintings on this mylar. And since I've been home, I haven't been able to do it really. But I was practicing different techniques, and I use this like oil sticks.
Yeah.
They're like oil paint, but in a stick form.
Right.
Like you can just
So it's more definitive.
yeah.
So can you fold that up? Is that mobile? Can we use it for a backdrop at the plantation?
Yeah, I can make a new one though. I
saw it as a back wall. I know we can make some while we're there, huh?
Yeah, you can make a specific.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
You can roll it up. I have like a.
Well, that's what I would think, is you can roll it up. Yeah.
Once you
Well,
start,
we know it's going to be a camp out of sorts. We can't even hardly get to the road trip. I'm excited about it though, for this reason, is that we have so much more to share. We got a little bit of time in that week, 10 days. And like you say, since the pandemic, now we've been kind of getting pieces of it between Texas and WhatsApp, and when we can catch up with one another. But yeah, over and above making a movie and like that, art is good. You know, life imitates art. Art imitates life.
I feel like you should probably make something on the plantation and see what.
Yeah, we should.
what
Absolutely.
what happens there. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I heard myself say out loud, which was interesting. We were talking about more of that, the connection in here in this piece where we're losing it, like women sitting around quilting or shucking corn. Probably that was it. We were talking about maybe stories of the corn mother, and that came up. But like that, I would like some of those to come back where because there's something magical that happens with a number of women sitting in the room, all creating in their creativity out of their hands. Something is happening, whatever it is, there is magic in that. And so whether we do a ceremony of the mask or like this, paint on Mylar, I don't know, but I'm the artist. I'm down for whatever we decide to do. It'd be great. So Todd's all excited about us having that and being able to name that probably by this time in Women's History Month, maybe what plantation in Mississippi we're going to. So that's exciting. What else are you looking forward to? I feel like I hardly catch up with you, Danae, and we want to. What else are you looking forward to coming up for the YO Darlings, Black History Month, Women's History Month? All that.
I'm looking forward to just like more collaboration and just I guess checking in. Like I just like to check in on the Wild Darlings because I feel like y'all are like family. So I just want to know how you are. Like there's been a lot, like you said, a lot has happened in the short amount of time. And sometimes like you can get caught up and you are just like spinning.
Yeah, just connected a little bit.
Yeah, so I
Sometimes.
guess like just checking in and seeing if there's anything that maybe I can help with differently or like just conversation though. Like I don't know. I think that's it. I feel good when I'm speaking with you guys and checking in and receiving your messages and like knowing that like you don't have to answer right away, but I know that y'all are looking out. Like, and it's the same for me. Like, I don't feel pressured because I feel like just in this moment, even though everyone is so disconnected, it's a pressure for everyone to stay on top of everyone else's, like what they perceive is going on. And that's not always real. So
it's the soul connection. I'm convinced of it, because you and Bree are about as far out. You're like Pluto, in the outer of us. But then when we get to see you this week. We saw Bree last week, and it feels like right here. Like you know what I mean? Like it's if we had talked to you last week or yesterday. And so that's when is that, some people can. I have quite a few people in my life like that, children included, that we could talk, but we're moving at such a pace that we don't, we catch up on birthdays and dates and different things like that. But there's not a need to have, some people have a need to have the everyday phone connection with everyone. They're holding on. That's what they have to hold on to. And it's a beautiful thing to see in this particular healing collective, the level of independence, the interconnectedness, but at the same time, the sovereignty and the independence that each of us have to have in a certain way to breathe and survive. I do want to say that I really do see that, and I will put it when I get back. I'll be back by mid-March. That Browns, if anyone deserves a brownstone, somewhere up in there, I don't even know which borough he lives, where we were in Harlem, where we were at, but it's you. Where it becomes a museum inside of Brooklyn or inside of wherever you live, that we can come and see it. Why should you have to be running around doing a little bit of it anywhere else? There should be a home base for it. And I think even through some of the grants and things we've seen for this project, it also exists for you. And I just don't think it's a hard thing. I think it's a conversation. And that's why he is the executive producer, because we can ask him about so many things like this with business and running, leasing out different parts of a brownstone. How do you make that work? And, you get reputable people. People are not going to tear up your property and recognize that you're narcissist. He has beautiful things in his home. he's a professor, so they're beautiful. Oh my God, art pieces and beautiful books. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that, what if I were to come and needed a place to stay, I could stay there. It's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
fabulous. So I want to know how he does that. So Danae Howard will be like, she'll have her own. Like,
Right.
I'm
Yeah, I feel that, Mama. When you go, let me know and I'll go find you
right,
to have this
right. We'll
conversation
do it for
together.
sure. But I wanted to say, with that, like the what's it called? The Sanctuary Heal is the place where Timmie's at, and on the 23rd, we have an empowerment thing. I want to give all the commercials I can remember. Coming up on the 22nd, which was good, the last one, and on the 23rd in particular, I wanted to shout that out because I love doing Kwanzaa, I love doing Black History Month, I love when we're in a community of mostly people of color doing what everybody else on the outside thinks we should be doing for balance and justice and equity and all like that. And so Tuesday night, the 23rd, is just an opportunity like that I've wanted to have that conversation since George Floyd personally, with other people of color who are in this, who have lived through all of this and who have to try to give a little navigation to where we're all going or where we'd like to go by the end of this year. How we really in the making of history. Of course, it is under the, Black history piece. But this film project in itself is history in the making. And for people to begin to recognize what part of the ongoing narrative or story that each of us are, who we are as storytellers about our own life. The obituary says something after it's done. And whether you're building a legacy or like yourself, your art will live on beyond you, so will mine. So I thank you so much for being a part of the cast and just for even being here is really, what I'm thanking you for, because you are kind of the flighty one, like a Bree. When we see y'all, we have to like really see y'all, but it was good to have you. So is Dewberry here? Are we ready to move on? I have no sense of the time.
It's
Someone
8:08.
tell us if she's here. I can't really see
Sue
this.
is not here.
Not here.
Not here, so maybe she couldn't make it.
Mm.
And if we look back to last week, she did speak a little bit about it. I remember because she and I spoke about the t-shirt happening. That's one of her rewards, is that she's going to make a custom design Darling's t-shirt, which I would love to have and kind of show off to folks. And we should say also that another Darling, Nia, who is coming along. I'm kind of like way over in the poetry slam part, but I think she's going to participate in that. Nia Calloway, another Darling, who is actually scheduled. If you saw the Meet the Darlings flyer go around, she was on it. And because of something that came up for her, she's in Texas, where we don't have, right at the top. I have such a big place in all of this. We were chilly in here. And when we got up this morning, the heat was off. And I don't even touch the heater. The other daughter here, you know what I'm saying? And I said that about midday. I said, well, I guess the spirits want us to know a bit of, what it is that the people who are trying to keep themselves warm are feeling right now. Because there's a lot of them. About 1.4, like over 1 million. That are freezing, trying to figure out how to keep warm. So anyway, Nia Calloway would have been with us. We will all be together next week. Here's an interesting piece for you to think about, you and Nova and Flor. I wanted to know like that one, like I have Mom's Mabley. I'm going to think about women, if I need to know, and how I would be enhanced to know, how I would be a wiser woman for knowing whether some of the women who are my sheroes are also wild darlings. What are the secrets that they know of, maybe not even about themselves, but they know of in their family? Like, it's interesting to me, Angela Davis is right there, pretty high up in my world. And it's interesting to me that until I saw about the bombings of the young ladies in the church, 4 Girls by Spike Lee, that I didn't know that she was a neighbor, she was a friend. These were people she knew. You know what I mean? And it means something. It means something for us to network and say how we do fit together as a family is that we do kind of know some of the hurt places. You know, like I know it took me a long time to understand that the Gap Band was talking about Tulsa. You dropped the bomb on me, and who some of the family and friends were of them, and where others have put their stories, very painful ones, into songs, or you know what I'm saying? So very important. I said that to say that when we come together next week, I hope that each of us will think of somewhere between 1 and 3 women that we know, like the lady from, what is it, Cadillac Records? There are 2 women that I'm thinking of, both darlings, both. And they've had a movie made. Maybe it was Dorothy Dandridge. Well, she was one of them, but there was another one. And there are so many. And because of all of what you had to live up to, like what Nina Simone broke through, like what some powerful women broke through, there are big parts of the story, the Wild Darling story, that died with them, that would never be told. Their art, their way of survival, the way in which they lived and healed and gone, you know what I mean? So I'm looking to that between Black History Month and Women's History Month to kind of just get the groundswell going up until the road trip. I am pretty excited about the road trip. I wanted to say that piece, that to keep up with each other. Mother Jaguar is giving a weekend, which I signed up and said I would go on the last weekend in April, maybe. She said the Earth Day weekend up in kind of upstate Stone Mountain, kind of Georgia area. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Timmie is going to have also a shamanic journey coming up in March. Nova, are you ready to tell us a little bit about any of the updates at this point? You could definitely tell us about Embodied Genius coming up on Saturday.
I think she's coming.
Okay.
Hi, grandmother. Coyote here. Ha 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 ha.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be
Good. I've been trying the whole, I go out in the temple when I'm lighting for everybody else. Hold the Baba. I say, okay, you know, we know, girlfriend, have to go through this.
Thank you.
You have to go through this time, and it'll make her think back a little bit, and then she'll go forward. It'll be all right. So just know I've been sending you hugs and love. Been thinking about you all the time. Were you catching some of this? Particularly Flor's interview? This was like so good. I'm so glad it's going to be on YouTube. We get to watch it again. Good. We had a great conversation. Got a chance to see some of Danae's art, which, you know, she's kept hidden from us for 4 months. Fabulous art, all types of textiles and mediums. So we finally saw it.
Yes.
We were sending love and hugs and warm to Nia, who's in Texas. For God's sake, people are freezing. No heat, no power, no lights.
Okay.
So she couldn't hook on. And then there's Dewberry, who actually gave us a little bit about her custom design t-shirts last week. She was going to come on and tell us more this week. Maybe she'll be with us as we all gather next week.
Yes.
I was saying that I'm really beginning. We woke up and started the morning. It was really good that we did. Usually we don't even have that kind of space in the morning, but we started on Toni Morrison's documentary, Pieces of Myself. This morning, me and the other priests in the house, we just decided to have coffee while watching that. It wasn't long. And I have at least half of her books I've read. Beloved, I've seen. And then there were still some books that she made, like the Black Book, like that one. Like, I have to get that one. It's really important. When that one came along to tell you all these pieces, I'm always fascinated from colored to Negro to Black to African American to African in America. So she didn't make it all the way up, but she made a pretty good history of it. So next week, I hope that as we're closing out and we remind everybody what our rewards are, and hopefully our Kickstarter will be live and active and people can give some of the great donations that we're looking for. We are also, I know I am tending these conversations. A lot of the feedback, I guess everyone could speak to that, but a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from people who now share our beautiful flyers and share all about us, and there are a lot of them, seem to be very interested for sure in the power of the healing that all of the darlings, all of us are doing. And as Danae and both Flor and I talked about, the amazing fact that we're able to, in a certain way, be vulnerable enough to be somewhere okay with it inside of ourselves, to have a camera rolling while we do it. That's pretty amazing, because you don't always get that.
Yeah.
You know, and that there was no script. You really ought to go back to the beginning. We really covered a lot of ground here of the evolution of what grows organically between all of us. That Nova could see that coming and say, no, I don't particularly have to block this person or tell them where they're going to be or what they're going to say. It's going to happen. I'm going to set up these various healing modalities, and then we're going to watch as the onion peels back and each of us begin to heal. And that's kind of what we've been watching for one another now since
I think that's
2019.
important. I think that's important, Mama. Also, that you said that. I agreed, like, that all of those things weren't like scripted, like the way that we were together. I think it's important for like the viewer or anyone who's watching to be aware of that, so they don't think it's just like a art film or something. Because it's
Right.
I said exactly the same thing to Flor,
right.
you know, because she was speaking to being behind the camera, knowing that those were the facts. She and Nova had already discussed that there wasn't going to be a script. But most people who would see it on the screen, what you want to bet they would think that those lines were written and we were exactly scripted, and they should know that we weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we were just placed in an area where organically it could happen, which has been pretty really special. A very special kind of way to make a movie, I would think. Yeah.
Really. It's
Yeah.
very special.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
live
did Nova come back, or she wandered off? We really can't get that kind of information.
on-
Oh,
She
there's
really did.
look.
Okay then.
Hi, Sangoma.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to have to put people off until next Wednesday when we could actually get more of the information. Now we maybe forgot some of what we wanted to ask. Some of it had to do with,
So I know you want to ask me about the short film you said,
we do, definitely.
and it's exciting news, and it's in development, right? I'm not ready to speak to that publicly, but I'm happy to share with the darlings and privately. Like, I want to share about it, yes.
Okay.
But not
Well, then let's
on
not go that
YouTube.
far. Let's not take the surprise lid off of that. I think it's important for people like me who will, like I asked you today, was there a flyer? Is there a way to just mention the name of it for us to at least say that it exists, number one, and it exists in actually as a part of this larger story of Wild Darlings, and that it was submitted for Sundance and will probably be submitted for festivals. I just think people need to know that and we'll get to that next week, we will, that the impetus for Mothership Alchemy, the bigger picture than any one project you do, like every other darling has been able to offer all of the facets of themselves. I think just to speak in the realm of Mothership Alchemy and what that creates, what your vision is for creating. Not that we don't want to hype the Wild Darlings, but we've had a great conversation. And it's your turn. So you can speak to that any way you want.
Let's have it on the docket for next week's
Okay,
gathering.
we'll do it. We'll revisit it. Meanwhile,
And
I did want to say something about it. Wasn't the next empowerment thing. I think it was the poetry slam. Maybe I was trying to remember the different events. We mentioned Timmie coming up in March. We mentioned we were on Nia, and I couldn't remember, and I was about to misstate that. But would you tell us, isn't the poetry slam coming up?
I'm going to put the events in the chat right now.
Okay, well, I don't know that I could get to it. Well, I'm going to say this for the, let's see, can we get there? Nope. Well, there. So meanwhile, no, don't want to do it because it'll make me just get too nutty. Awesome. Meanwhile, I do want to say, Wild Darlings on Instagram. I want to point out all the places, and we all should, where everyone can look for our Kickstarter link. We are moving into a fundraiser, which we felt like would be from middle of Black History Month to the middle of Women's History Month. I'm willing to bet you it'll go to the end of March now, by the sheer time that it will come up. And I would also like you to think of us very much as stimulus, and various funds begin to move around. Maybe it's the middle of the country begins to thaw out. We're all able to accomplish things that we're not able to right now. That's why we did it. That's why we did meet the Darlings. We've tried to give you some pieces of the conversation that help you to understand what it means to us, what it means to the larger community of women of color in the queer community, Wild Darlings, children that have to deal with the trauma of their childhood every single day. I've met many of them. I am in the amazement. It makes me live my life in a much deeper way to know what some of us have to move with at any given point in time. To stay in possession of our own trust, to not have people say, well, if it's not love, it must be fear. If it's not fear, it must be love. You know, we have all these choices to make. And so that, for me, the power of this project in the big picture, and individually offering each of you a conversation or an interview with each of these young ladies has been my intention, to bring the power that when we know various tweaking, adjustments, a little bit of changes needed, that we're able to do it. We're able to step up. That's what I feel like when I could talk to any one of them and feel like that I am totally up to the challenge of whatever life presents me in meeting the challenges of the changes. I said it just the other day, something I was doing out here. And sometimes the old women will ask you, you get stuck with lemonades or lemons? Why don't you make some lemonade, honey? They didn't want you to be sad or disappointed. And they could see that you were. They could see that you were expecting to have a certain abundance and fullness of what you expected, and you got left with the lemons. And they were remind you that you still had the power to make lemonade. I think that's the life story of each of these darlings. Absolutely, and without a doubt. And I also know that we're humbled to tell the story of thousands who've already lived and whose stories would never, ever, ever, ever even be given attention to if we weren't picking at it. Each of us picking at it, picking a different part of it, and revealing where the hurt and the pain lives. So I'm just really proud of the work we want to do. Anything else that anyone on this call wants to say before we give it up for YouTube to carry it forward into the seasons ahead of us?
Thank you, Sangoma, for this wonderful interview and conversation and giving me the opportunity to talk about the project. Like I said, I don't like to be on camera, but I am so excited to share about this project. So I'm going to be on the Wild Darlings Instagram page a lot. Hit me up. I'm like more than happy to talk about it and geek out about film and all these things. But thank you so much. And Nova did put the Eventbrite links. So we have the next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Dew will definitely be there. Nova, you will be there. I'll be there. I'll show up again, even say hi. And the Shamanic Drum Journey led by Timmie is happening on March 6th from 3 to 4. You guys that her drum journeys are so powerful. They will like transport you to another dimension. So good.
Where's the poetry slam? Did we really book that yet, or we're still just talking about it? I think it's going to be great.
No, it's happening March 6th. So
March 6th.
the
So there
event
it is.
here and
Yeah, Big J will be there. We have a number of poets in our
March
midst.
5th is the slam.
and then
It's the
March
slam.
5th is the poetry slam from 7 to 8. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to.
And again, you'll see this in all our social media, you know, and what we expect definitely by the time we all come back together next week to wrap things up for February. We'll be in the midst of our launch of our Kickstarter fundraising campaign. It's fabulous. I just want to say that right up front. You might feel like you personally stepped into each of our stories in our lives, but I've kind of previewed the Kickstarter, and it is going to answer all those questions that you're asking, like what's the bigger picture, how much it's about, if I send my money, what my money going to get spent to, da 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 da. That's why they do such amazing templates and fundraiser in the Kickstarter world, so that we could tell you the fullness of the story.
We do have a question from Santos.
Mm-hmm.
Santos, did you raise
Yeah.
your hand?
Mm-hmm. Santos is probably out here.
I think.
Santos Soul.
Oh,
Oh,
peace and power, everyone.
peace and power.
Alafia.
Alafia.
I was just, I just wanted to give greetings and just to say I'm really excited to learn more about the work and support the journey in any way I can. My mother's ancestral home is from is in Mississippi, and she shared the story of being as a girl traveling from New York City to Mississippi and going to playing in the quarters and learning later that was the slave quarters. So I'm really interested in learning about y'all experience in the film, and just cheers and blessings to your work.
Well, how about that? And so you and I hadn't even hit that. You were just here the other night. Never did hit the fact, as much as I've done with your ancestors, that, you know what I mean, you got some roots down there in Mississippi that kind of happened around a plantation. Jonathan Santos, everyone. For all you know, you could be in the soundtrack of Wild Darlings, the movie. We don't even know. But thank you for coming on and for supporting us. And you know, Mr. Santos, that artists such as yourself are also able to donate any type of thing. Like you could, the singing Valentine's coming to door. But I mean, I'm just saying, you might want to show up with some of your music and say, hey, you give $100 to this particular project, or, anyway, we'll talk about it. But thanks for showing up majorly. That's nice. I'm so glad that you did. Yeah. So it's always on YouTube, Kindred of Sangoma, the YouTube channel. If you want to go back and see week 1 or week 2, this happens to be week 3, and next week will be week 4. And then we'll be out of it. We'll be doing all kinds of different stuff, come to Poetry Slam and Shamanic Journeys and all types of stuff in Women's History Month in March. So to then, just everybody generate the heat for Texas and the rest of the world. That they thaw out, be warm, and the power come back on and all that, right? Right? All right, love and good blessings, peace and power.